Today's video, we're going to talk about how to install barnwood style trim around your windows in your pole barn. I chose PVC trim because it's already white and I don't have to paint it. And if I scratch it, it's white underneath. But it's really pretty simple. All you need is a miter saw, tape measure, a pencil, and one of these guys, just super handy. I mean, you can have the air powered one too, but I love not having to drag out an air compressor, and I tend to work on things late at night. As you notice, it's dark outside and I don't have a compressor running, so that's cool. But yeah, this video we'll talk about some of the pros and cons of the PVC trim, how to do the barn style corners, which is really, there's just no 45 here. The bottom piece goes straight to the end, and then the vertical piece just matches the end there. I'm finally finishing out my windows. My lights just turned off. Finally finishing out my windows. I've had the shop up for about 2 years now, and I got the inside finished out, and this was just one of these trivial things that was really bugging me because I just wanted it checked off my list. So today we get that checked off. I'm doing the trim around my windows barn style, so there's not going to be 45s at the corners. It's going to be straight overlaps, and I wanted to show how I did this because I had to think about it for a second. I'm not a carpenter. Maybe this will help you. But first I measured the window inside to inside and inside to inside for the height and the width. So I came up with 34 inches high and 46 inches wide. So then there's generally a 1/4 inch, what they call a reveal on the trim. There's like just a little bit of the door or window frame showing. It's standard, I don't know. It looks good. Anyways, so you have to add that in there before you cut. So we've got a 46 inch inside window width. We're adding a 1/4 inch reveal on either side, and then 3.5 inches on each side for the 1x4 going vertical, and then that comes out to 53.5 inches. So I cut this bottom board to 53.5 inches, and then I marked it 3 3/4 from each end, so that accommodates for the 3.5 inch board plus the 1/4 inch reveal on each end. I lined it up, and then I took this piece of scrap wood. It's whatever I had. I'm just using what I have. I believe it's like 3/16 thick. So I'm just leaving like a tiny space plus the board, and I'm calling that a 1/4 inch reveal. It's close enough. So what I did is I held this up here, and I put one tack in it with my 16 gauge Ryobi air nailer, and this thing is sweet. I hate air compressors and lines, and this thing's kind of heavy, but it works really good. So I attacked it in the middle. I'll make sure it's level and spaced correctly, and then I'll tack it on either end, and then we'll move on to the two sides. Alright, so I got my exhaust fan turned off. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. But since I measured everything out beforehand and added my reveal, when I go to put up the sides, I don't even have to measure anything because I already added my 1/4 inch reveal here and here. So all I had to do was line the two boards up at the edge, and I tacked it at the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Line it up at the edge. Tack it at the bottom. And then when I put on my top board, I'll just line it up with the edges of my top board, and everything should be hunky-dory. Mine's a little bit challenging because I have this material rack up here. But it'll actually work out perfectly, so it'll just barely overlap onto my top board. All right, so we pretty well got this window trimmed out. This one had some bonus supports that I had to go under for my steel rack. So I built this mezzanine here, which I've discussed in previous videos with all the plumbing, and there's a half bath and like a mechanical room in there. And then my whole plan was, I always struggled to have a place to put my steel, especially the longer pieces. And I would put them like along the wall in the corner of the garage, and then I would pile stuff in front of them, and then I couldn't get to them. And when I built this shop, I wanted to do something different. So I built the bathroom and the mechanical room with a mezzanine above it. And on this mezzanine, I have these storage shelves, which I also built. They were, well, they're a kit, but I cut them down so they were only about 2 foot tall. And I made multiple shelves there, but all of this steel laying here, and even this one that goes way out here, is anywhere between, I don't know, 6, 8, and 20 foot. So this one here, I think goes all the way out here, is either 20 or 22 feet. And I ended up, overkill engineering. I put all these heavy duty braces here. And it's interesting, since I'm storing steel instead of wood, there's really not actually any weight on them, because with this 20 footer, there's like 13 feet of steel up on the mezzanine. So it doesn't actually bend that much like wood would. So anyways, they're not holding that much weight. They're more for looks and feel good than anything. But I use these, they're called Spacks. I got tired of the cheapo lag screws snapping off at the head, which just really makes for a frustrating day. So I started buying these Spacks. These ones are 5/16 by 4. Power lag. They're called power lags, but these do not snap off, and they're amazing. And I will always use them from now on. But they're like $1 a piece. But especially in cases like this, they're totally worth it. So each one of these brackets will have 3 of these Spacks fasteners on it. So it should be pretty cool. Anyways, the way that applies to this window and how I was framing out this window, I also had to do this extra strips here to support the board and kind of tie everything together. So I think it came out pretty good. I'm still gonna have to silicone all the gaps, silicone all the nail heads. It should be good. One thing to note, I don't know if I should say I really like the PVC boards. These are all PVC textured. They're textured on one side, and they are smooth on the other side. And I like it, I really do. Sorry, my light turned off. I like it, I really do. But this one is directly behind my welding table. And I have noticed that, like, even though PVC isn't flammable per se, I did a lot of research on it, and it seemed like the best way to go. Because I always thought if I did wood and you paint it white and then you scratch the wood, then you had to paint it again, and that's annoying, and I didn't want to do that. So I ended up putting in the extra money, and I got PVC trim, which is awesome, and it's great to work with, and it cuts just like wood, and you can put it together just like wood, and then you silicone the holes, and you never had to paint it. But the one exception is behind my welding table, I have this window, which I've already destroyed this window. It's really quite textured from weld spatter, but it also has made some weld spatter holes in there. So I don't know what my options are there. One, I mean, first of all, it doesn't really, but this is a shop, it's for working in. It doesn't bother me that much. I still like that I don't have to paint it. I do think, you know, here a couple years from now, when it gets bad enough, I'll slather some white paint on there. Maybe I can find some kind of like fireproof or tough paint or something. I don't know. If you guys know of something like that, post up down below. but I might paint it someday. I mean, there's a sheetrock here, wall here too, that has weld spatter all over it, and it's fine. So, anyways, this is the PVC trim. It's really cool. I like it. Got all my supports up. I got one more window to do. And there you have it. We are done trimming out all 3 windows in my pole barn. I'm super stoked to have it done. Hopefully you guys learned something. It's really pretty simple. You can do it yourself. Just take some time, some patience, and tools, and you can do it yourself. So you get out in your shop, work on something.